Previously, in Lore of Minecraft, we have followed the changes in Minecraftia from Classic to Alpha. Much has changed since Notch first created the world, but how far did this change go, and how did it reach where we are today? This is the episode where we find out, as we head to the beta era and into modern times. The year 120 was the start of the beta era. It also marked the end of the century of change, but things were still changing in Minecraftia. Since mid-alpha, server settlements had been springing up when lone players met each other. With these new communities, what we now know as society began forming, with culture and well-known people. Icaria was no longer the only city in Minecraftia. The newly forming society affected technological progress. In 125, humans invented charcoal, note blocks, dye, dispensers and cake. With culture came proper recorded history and the first documented cases of sandstone, lapis lazuli, birch and pine trees and squid. Humans do not naturally have to sleep, but the bed was invented regardless in 133, as well as the redstone repeater, a major improvement to redstone technology. An important fact about this era is that it is much more recent than events covered in earlier episodes of Lore of Minecraft. As such, we have uncovered much more minor events in these times, such as an increase in the population of slimes in 133. Since Classic, the evolutionary tree has spread in many directions with both animals and plants. This continued further in 141 when wolves arrived in Minecraftia and were soon tamed by humans for the first time. Their origin is rather a mystery, as their gene code does not match up with any other passive mob at the time. On a side note, the cookie was also invented in this year. In Alpha, we saw how climate change created biomes. This climate change continued and is still going on today. In the 140s, this change led to weather such as rain and even lightning. 151 saw two more inventions, the map and the trapdoor. This followed in 158 with redstone-powered pistons and also shears. The 170s changed the course of Minecraftian history. Many events took place in 173 that changed the world as we know it. Decades earlier, one group of humans had left society and lived completely underground in a series of fortresses called strongholds. Strongholds were rediscovered in 173, and the stone bricks and iron bars that were found there were soon replicated and used by the modern Minecraftians. Explorers venturing out discovered ancient abandoned mine shafts built by the long extinct pigmen, where seeds of the also extinct melon plant were uncovered. They encountered venomous cave spiders, which had been bred from normal spiders by the pigmen. Little did the Minecraftians know that the gods of Mojang were at war. Notch was fighting his nemesis Herobrine in a conflict of epic proportions. Herobrine destroyed the mythical farlands on the far side of Minecraftia, and as the huge unstable structure collapsed into the sea, it created a series of earthquakes, leading to ravines all over the world. In desperation, Notch created the End, a realm where he could recruit an army to defeat Herobrine. However, the experiment went wrong, and gave birth to the Ender Dragon. The dragon tricked the inhabitants of the strongholds into building portals to the End. Those that came through were captured by the dragon and transformed into Endermen. They then launched an invasion of Minecraftia, intending to destroy both Herobrine and humans. However, only a small number of Endermen had passed through, and the portals mysteriously shut down, trapping the invaders in Minecraftia without the rest of their kind, who were still in the End. The descendants of those Endermen roam the land to this day. The Endermen could not return to the End because they only had one of the ingredients required to make the Eyes of Ender, the keys needed to reactivate the portals. In addition to the Ender Pearl, a catalyst was required, and there was only one substance known that was strong enough: blaze powder. The Blazers were Herobrine's soldiers, a living embodiment of fire. They defended Herobrine's nether fortresses that he had built a year after the Ender invasion. Meanwhile, human civilization was still making progress. They had invented the snow golem and had discovered the strange mushroom biomes far out in the oceans. Also, they had contacted the human-like testificates in their mysterious villages. When humans met them, they were a primitive culture incapable of much, but this would change. In the war between Notch and Herobrine, both sides had underestimated the resourcefulness of normal humans. Once they discovered Herobrine's fortresses in the Nether, it was only a matter of time until they obtained their blaze rods and gave them the ability to brew potions. By 178, they had moved on to other types of magic, including enchanting. At the same time, they invented the Eye of Ender, which allowed them to reactivate the End portals. Humans could now travel to the End, but the portals were only one way. The first encounter with the Ender Dragon occurred in 184, and as far as records go, no one survived. We are now in what most historians call modern times. Minecraftia now had a stable government, cities and widespread technology. For a while, nothing seemed to happen, but changes were still going on behind the scenes. Climate change was still continuing, and it led to early forms of jungle biomes in exotic regions. Jungles became widespread over the whole planet around 205. The jungles were the ideal home for a new mob that had evolved, the Ocelots. Also in 205, Testificus invented the Iron Golem, a design that was soon stolen by humans. The invention of the redstone lamp soon followed, and finally explorers discovered desert wells, a sign of a long-vanished culture. For a long time writable books had been around, but the patent was finally released in 232 to the whole populace. Due to the changing climate, cocoa beans could now grow in jungles, and this new plant soon spread around Minecraftia. Humans invented the ender chest around this time, and also discovered emeralds. Emeralds had been around for much longer, but no one had actually seen them until 232. Testificus had already discovered this ore, and were using it for trading, which shows they were evolving to become more intelligent. Meanwhile, humans were starting to find relics from the deep past of the Testificus. Long before they had encountered humans, the ancestors of the Testificus had built great tombs in the desert for their leaders, where they hid emeralds and other treasure. There were also temples that could be found deep in the jungles, where the early Testificus used to worship the gods, and hide more treasure away behind tripwires, another invention that was reverse engineered by the humans that discovered them. These huge leaps in the 230s bring us up to the modern day, the present. Throughout 3 episodes, we have seen how Minecraft evolves from a simple world to the one we know today. Who knows where Minecraftia will go next? Rumours circulate over Testificus using dark magic, a new weapon created by Gem to defeat Herobrine, more strange plants evolving, redstone breakthroughs and strange ores in the Nether itself. And that was the history of Minecraftia, from classic to today. A world always changing, and one that will forever continue to do so.